In the summer of 1954, a young man from Memphis, Elvis Presley, stood at the threshold of something incredible, completely unaware of the seismic shift he was about to cause in the world of music. It wasn't just Elvis, it was the birth of a new sound, one that would shake the very foundations of the music industry. This wasn't your typical story of a singer-songwriter. Elvis and his bandmates didn't even write their own songs. They started with just 4 or 5 songs they already knew, playing them over and over in small venues, from high school gyms to tiny clubs. Elvis had a simple dream: to make a name for himself in music, but the path was not easy. His band, which included Scotty Moore on guitar, Bill Black on bass, and later, drummer DJ Fontana, faced a mountain of challenges. They were not the only ones trying to make it big, and the music scene was crowded. Elvis often joked that if his life depended on it, he couldn't come up with an original song. The truth was, he wanted something fresh, something that stood out. One day, they stumbled upon a forgotten gem, a blues song called Milk Cow Blues, written long before Elvis was even born. They decided to give it a new life, transforming it into their own version. This was the start of their unique approach to music. They scoured through old records, searching for tunes that had been forgotten, songs they could reimagine and make their own. It was a risky strategy, but it worked. Their rendition of Milk Cow Blues became their third single, a step towards the legend he would soon become. Life on the road was grueling. They played small gigs, often sleeping in the car between shows. Elvis would wake up feeling like a pebble thrown into a pond, watching as the ripples of their music spread, slowly but surely growing larger. Their first big break came when they joined the Louisiana Hayride, a popular radio show. It was here that the screams of their fans started to echo loudly, a sign that they were onto something special. With this newfound popularity, they added drums to their band. DJ Fontana, a skilled drummer, joined them, bringing a new energy to their performances. But the loud screams often drowned out Elvis's voice, forcing him to rely on the beat to keep his rhythm. This was just the beginning of the chaos that would follow Elvis wherever he went. As their fame grew, so did the challenges. Elvis's newfound popularity made him a target. Jealousy and fear started to creep into the lives of those around him. One night at an army base, a husband attacked Elvis after seeing him perform, enraged by his wife's reaction to the music. It was a harsh reminder of the dangers that came with fame. Elvis wasn't just a performer, he was a symbol of change, and not everyone was happy about it. Despite these challenges, Elvis's paychecks started to improve, though not regularly. He sent money home to his family, who lived in a small house in Memphis. His mother, Gladys, would often receive money orders, carefully saved in a box. Elvis's sister, Dixie, would visit and chat with Gladys, but Elvis's jealousy and suspicion often led to arguments when he was home. He was no saint, but he was trying to support his family as best he could. In Memphis, Elvis was becoming a local celebrity. Strangers recognized him on Beale Street, asking for autographs and sharing stories of his performances. To Elvis, this was normal, a sign that he was making an impact. But it was Scotty Moore and Bill Black who were starting to see him as more than just a talented young musician. They treated him like a star, a boy wonder, and Elvis began to embrace this role, taking charge of their music and decisions. As Elvis's influence grew, so did the expectations. In the studio, he had to convince Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records, to record songs that he wanted to do. It wasn't always easy, but Elvis's passion and determination eventually won through. His love for rhythm and blues led to hits like Money Honey and I Got a Woman, songs that showcased his unique blend of styles. This was just the beginning. Elvis was about to step into a world where music would become his life, and nothing would ever be the same again. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, controversies, and triumphs. But for now, he was just a young man with a guitar, a voice, and a dream that was starting to come true. As Elvis began to gain fame, a man named Tom Parker stepped into his life. At first, Elvis thought Parker was just trying to help out a friend by introducing him to some new opportunities. But it wasn't long before Elvis and his band realized Parker was after more than just being friendly. Parker was a middle-aged man with big ambitions. He had left a job managing another singer, Eddie Arnold, because of a money dispute. Now he was teaming up with Hank Snow, another country singer. This partnership helped Elvis and his band land bigger gigs than they had before. Parker also gave Elvis his first advance, a sum of money to help them out, which was a surprise to Elvis, who had never seen so much money before. While their pay went up, not everyone in the band liked Parker. Scotty and Bill, Elvis's guitar players, didn't take to him. Parker was straightforward and didn't care much about people's feelings. He saw everything in terms of money. To them, Parker seemed like someone who didn't understand music, just how to make money from it. Elvis tried to keep Parker away from the music side of things at first. But Parker was ambitious and saw an opportunity. If one band backed both him and Hank Snow, they'd save money. This idea bothered Scotty and Bill because they knew Parker didn't appreciate the unique sound they were creating for Elvis. Over time, Parker's influence grew. He started to involve himself in musical decisions, much to the dislike of Dr. DJ Fontana, the band's drummer, and Sam Phillips, the founder of Sun Records. Parker's style was all about control. He'd use his self-proclaimed title of Colonel, given to him by a Louisiana governor as a favor, to try and assert his authority. Even though Elvis and Sam Phillips didn't respect the title, Parker loved using it in every official document he could find. Parker's background was shrouded in mystery. He told wild stories about growing up in a circus and selling fake canaries. Whether these stories were true or not, they made for good laughs. When Parker was in a good mood, he could be entertaining, but when he wasn't, he became demanding and bossy, much like a military officer. The title of Colonel, given by Governor Jimmy Davis of Louisiana, was just another tool for Parker. It wasn't anything official, but it gave him a sense of importance. Elvis and Sam Phillips didn't bother with the title, but Parker used it everywhere, trying to project an image of power and prestige. DJ Fontana didn't mince words about Parker. He found him phony and refused to call him Colonel. He simply called him Mr. Parker. This disagreement highlighted the growing tension between Parker's influence and the band's desire to maintain their creative freedom. As Elvis's star rose, so did Parker's influence over him. Parker's main goal was to make money, and he saw Elvis as a way to achieve that. While Elvis appreciated the financial boost, he was starting to realize that Parker's methods were not always in the best interest of their music or their friendship. This realization would soon lead to bigger challenges for Elvis and his team as they navigated the complexities of fame and the music industry. Elvis was not bothered by the chaos Parker brought into his life. He saw the money piling up and felt thankful to Colonel Parker, whom he always called the Colonel. But what really got under his skin was Parker's stare. It was hard to argue with Parker. He would lock you with his blue eyes until you looked away, embarrassed. This was how Parker got his way with everyone, including Elvis. Parker was straightforward too. He told Elvis right away that if he ever brought shame to him, he would be kicked out. Elvis felt lucky to have Parker manage him, even if he wondered if Parker had got the better end of the deal. Parker had managed Eddie Arnold before, and there was a story that Arnold got so fed up with Parker's constant meddling that he asked, "Don't you have a hobby?" Parker replied, "You're my hobby." Elvis became Parker's most valuable hobby. Before Parker, Elvis, Scotty, and Bill were a band sharing everything equally. But as Parker booked them for more gigs across the South, things changed. Scotty and Bill became salaried, while Elvis continued to get a bigger share of the earnings. They weren't happy, but they were making more money than ever before, so they didn't complain much. Parker only talked about getting Elvis on TV and to Hollywood. In 1955, Parker flew them to New York for an audition on Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts show. It was Elvis's first time on a plane, and though they didn't make it onto the show, it marked a turning point. Elvis started to feel uncomfortable in New York, thinking the people there didn't truly appreciate his music because of his looks and youthful energy. Back on the road, misfortunes struck. Their new cars kept breaking down, and Parker started docking their pay when they were late for shows. Elvis and the boys played gigs in Florida, but Parker's actions caused tension. One night, Elvis joked and hundreds of fans rushed the stage, leaving Hank Snow to play to an empty stadium. It was during this time that Elvis met Mee Axton, a tour publicist. She helped him fulfill a wish to bring his parents to see the ocean. Around the same time, Bob Neal, Elvis's official manager, was unhappy with Parker's control, but Parker was too powerful. Back in Memphis, Elvis faced another tough moment. Dixie, the girl he loved, told him she was seeing someone else. Elvis was heartbroken, but he knew he couldn't let it ruin his career. He talked about her in interviews for years, even though he knew he shouldn't. Elvis continued to navigate his wild life, balancing his music career with the chaos around him. He had to be careful not just for himself, but for his family. They relied on him financially, especially after he rented them a new home in Memphis. Through it all, Parker remained the driving force. He pushed Elvis to focus on his career and avoid distractions. Elvis, in turn, became more focused on his music and image, even if it meant making mistakes along the way. He knew the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, his family, his career, and the legacy he was building with every performance.